Okay, so this is Diesel for We the People. Same video we're watching, but it's a different video for me, so I gotta go through the full disclosure thing. I'm not an attorney. If you want advice of illegal things, you need to go ahead and get yourself an attorney. I'm just doing this as a learning experience for we the people to protect ourselves from the elites causing harm upon us. So, anyway, we're going to go ahead and proceed forward on this one. I want to say on this case right here, this is back in 2013, so this guy may be doing a lot better now than then. I recognize the name. I haven't seen very many of his videos, so for me personally, this is going to be under contract because of the driver's license contract law. I'll probably walk in there as a man, a living man, and I'm here to settle the matter. Who's the man and the woman making this claim? A living man and woman making this claim. I live in Texas, so who's Mr. Texas? It's going to be one of them deals. I don't know if I would challenge the jurisdiction 1 or 2 times, maybe. But if I can't get through that, then we're going to proceed forward. We're going to jump on the who the witness is, right? We already heard that they can go by, they can just go by whatever anybody else says, right? Well, I want factual evidence. I want the witness to come forward. I'm here to settle the matter. If I'm guilty, by gosh, the man and woman needs to come over here and say, hey, I caused that person harm. Once again, in the state of Texas, a misdemeanor is a crime. So this is a crime. It's criminal. And how they play this off as not a criminal, it's illegal, unconstitutional when we have constitutional rights in the states and in federal government. So this is another way to shamball us. And it's our parents' fault and it's our grandparents' fault for letting them get by with it this long. It's time for us to wake up and go after them. Alright, here we go.
Evidence from her proving that the Constitution laws in the state of New Hampshire actually apply to Mr. Freeman. And so I believe her appearance today is disingenuous at best.
So Mr. Stevens is arguing ultimately that they have not proven that the Constitution or laws apply to Mr. Freeman. However, this is not a constitutionally founded court. This court is not under the judicial branch of the government, okay? And jurisdiction for the court only applies if the offense was committed within the state of New Hampshire. That's it. Given by the executive branch of government, not by the judicial branch of government.
He's known for
You see, and there's where lies the problem. Number one, explain to me how the Constitution does apply to me. Because the Constitution, number one, applies to the government where they cannot intervene in our inalienable rights. State Constitution belongs to the state to tell them they cannot enter this behalf. Federal Constitution belongs to the federal government, saying they cannot enter our inalienable rights. We don't have a Second Amendment, we have inalienable rights. It's just that amendments is kind of specifically telling them you cannot do this unless something is wrong and then you can enter. Okay, I talked that on another video. But it's just here to remind y'all. Excuse me. So laws, codes, and statutes, right? Where is there factual evidence that they actually do apply? Right? We've been raised that applies to us. But codes and statute actually is intended for the government to go by. they're the ones that's got the statute and codes for some of the employees in the back door. And they just threw it into our inalienable rights side, our freedom side, to put us in slavery. Now, I understand that you guys, this is a mindset thing, and you got to kind of understand how they're doing this, and that's exactly how they're doing it. They're putting their rules and regulations, and again, she says rules. Listen to it again, she's going to bring that up. Rules are not laws. Period. So how did you break a law if it's a rule? And rules are not law. So you didn't break no law, you broke a rule. But they keep saying you broke a law when it's just a rule.
Gaps in evidence and jurisdiction.
I guess I'm going to address you first. This is a duly convened hearing of the Department of Safety based on a complaint brought by the Keene Police Department. And I recognize her as a member of the Bar of the State of New Hampshire. I'm not sure what your authority is, sir, but she's a member of the Bar of the State of New Hampshire.
And although he's not sure of what his authority is, the fact that, Mr. Stevens doesn't have any authority and is not barred under the state of New Hampshire, this would not fly in a non-administrative hearing body. So were he really in a court where he could actually advance these types of arguments, he wouldn't even be allowed to appear and advance those arguments because he's not an attorney.
As far as I'm concerned.
Again, wrong. All right. So some of y'all need to recognize that attorneys are attorneys. Counsels are counsels. They cannot be one and the same. They had to be individual. Now, it has been slipped under the rug and attorneys has done counsel. But in all actually, why, under legalese even, but lawful more of anything else, they're not one and the same. They're two different entities. And so I can have a counsel, which is a short version. If I was to counsel somebody, he still talks, but I would give him some ideas what to say. All right? The attorney does all the talking for you. All right?
You can appear here, and I don't know as though you've said anything that makes me think otherwise.
Well, I believe she's filed a complaint with the DMV knowing that there was no evidence of jurisdiction, that there was no evidence to prove that the Constitution laws in the state of New Hampshire actually applied to Mr. Freeman.
So again, they don't have to show that the Constitution applies to Mr. Freeman. As the jurisdictional issue, which is, do the administrative rules apply to Mr. Freeman, and can he be sanctioned under those administrative rules? The judge has to be given the hearing official, he's not a judge, the hearing official has to be given the opportunity to hear what the facts are in order to make a prima facie or on its face determination of whether or not there's jurisdiction. And again, the higher burdens of proof do not apply in this case because this is not a constitutional court. This is not a court convened by the judicial branch of government. This is a hearing body that is brought about by an administrative body under the executive branch of government.
And she's right. This is where you actually supposed to make your plea. Innocent, not guilty, or no contest. They haven't done either one because they challenged jurisdiction. And regardless what she says, you still have the right to be informed of what section they are charging you. This is your liberty. This is your life. They are trying to take money from you. They are trying to commit harm on you. All right? Legally, lawfully, whatever you want to look at it, right? Now, all this is legalese. This is not lawful. It's legalese, and we've been blindsided by all this, right? We've been raised with it. And we've been raised not to challenge anything. People are starting to wake up, finally. And it may be due because of the internet and this, that, here, and there. And, but I just wanted to kind of bring that to y'all's attention too. She is absolutely right about this. But where does it say that we have to play the same rules they do? They got a script. You know, they want this easy peasy so they can get in and get out and go to the next case. And government does not like being challenged. And they're going to be a bronking bull. They're going to butt you and buck you and buck you. And this is the reason why I keep telling everybody out there, this is not a thing for the people that don't really want to push it. Like I said, out of 100 people, there may be 5 people will go ahead and push forward because they're so sick and tired of these stupid games they're playing. And how can you go to jail over a non-crime they're calling a crime, and how can they not have jurisdiction or anything like that, or a constitution when it's a crime, when it's a misdemeanor crime, but it's still a crime? You know, see, this lower courts is absolutely crap.
That she has.
You gotta know your separation of powers. That's really what Mr. Stevens' issue is here.
Purposely withdrawing her complaint in the court to bring it here to enjoy a lesser standard of proof, which even with the lower standard of proof, because she has no evidence to prove that the constitutional laws apply and can't establish her.
How do I know that she doesn't have any evidence if I haven't heard anything yet?
And ultimately, that's what it all comes down to.
Okay, number one, how does he not know? Did he not read the papers? No, he's just playing. And he may not read it. But if he didn't read it, he's just being stupid. He's to read this before proceeding forward on the case to understand what the case is consist of. He's acting like Congress.
Mr. Stevens is ultimately trying to disrupt this proceeding. He's not actually interested in a thorough or true determination by this administrative body. But it doesn't work because the judge needs to be able to hear the evidence in order to determine whether or not there is jurisdiction at all. This is not like in a district court or circuit court convened under the judicial branch of government, where you can file a separate motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction. This is an administrative body. So the judge is going to consider everything all at once. And he has the right to hear the testimony of the witnesses in order to reach the threshold issue of whether or not there's jurisdiction. Mr. Stevens can't stop the administrative hearing official from hearing that evidence.
And in a lot of ways, she is correct on that. And that lies into the problem we have. Because technically, he's got to answer the jurisdiction. The Supreme Court has ruled on that. And I may be wrong, but if I remember correctly, it's all courts. So if they call themselves a court, then they are part of all courts. So I'm going to leave it off on this one because this one's getting a little long. We're going to start on number 3. Bye.